So hello to all our audience of Métal Zone radio show. That's the name of the show on Oxygène Radio. We are at the BARBEUK Metal Festival, second edition. This year in CHAMPTOCEAUX, France, and we've got the huge pleasure to be with a band coming from UK, SHRAPNEL, and two members. So first of all, thanks taking some time to answer some questions. So can you first introduce to our audience what you're doing in the band?
Cool, yeah, so my name's Chris and I play rhythm guitar.
I'm Dan, and I arguably play bass, and even more arguably sing.
Okay, so how did you find out about the festival, and how did you end up to be on this bill this year?
Yeah, so Seb reached out and invited us to come. We played House of Metal Festival in Sweden just before COVID. Have been waiting to get back over to Europe. Did a small run of dates in Europe last summer, and basically just after that run of shows, Seb got in touch, invited us to come and play, and our drummer Chris as well. Too many Chris's. He also plays for Gamma Bomb, so Seb kind of got Shrapnel and Gamma Bomb through the one booking. So yeah.
I don't remember. I'm not sure, but is it your first show in France, or are you? Yeah, this is the first show you are coming in France. Yeah. Why?
Well, when we did the Europe tour last year, it wasn't because we didn't necessarily want to find a place to come to. I'd have loved to have played France. It was just the means that we had to get around Europe just meant that we couldn't really turn up, which was really sad because, especially considering how easy it is to get to France through the UK, we did try and have a look, but I'm kind of glad that this is our first France show because it's been such a great experience meeting everyone here and everyone's been so friendly. We'd really like to get ourselves back there at some point, as soon as we can. And it's just a really cool experience to be around a festival like this. So good first experience for sure. So kind of glad it's turned out like this.
Okay, so sure it would not be the last one because this is the first, and I'm sure there will be others, of course. So it's cool for the people who are there today for your show. So for the people who are not very familiar with the band Shrapnel, can you do a brief history of the genesis of the band?
Yeah, sure. So we started in 2009. Very early on, we started for fun. We're not taking it at all seriously. And then we supported Sepultura, we got to play Bloodstock, things started to happen really quickly. We've been a pretty much straight up thrash band for many years. With the new record, we're branching out a bit, so we don't kind of get stuck in a box. So the new record's a bit modern. There's a lot of thrash stuff on there, but the new one branches out quite a bit more. It's a lot more experimental, a lot more modern. It's a big change for us. But the reception for that's been really cool. From people who like the old thrash stuff, and also people who like, more modern metal. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Cool. Yeah, it's a little bit different, as you say, for this new album. So yeah, we're going to talk about this new album, which is called In Gravity, released on May this year through Candlelight Records. Can you tell us more about it regarding the lyrical theme, the conception, the recording process, the composition, etc., etc.?
So it's really interesting compositionally because I kind of came in late to it. This is my first album with the guys. So when we jumped on board with it, Nate and the lads had a lot more done than I would have contributed. And I kind of put towards the last couple of tunes. But when we were working on everything, everyone kind of came in with little pieces of their own stuff. Like Chris says, a lot of the Shrapnel stuff from second album onwards has been, what if we took the engine of this band but applied it to X, Y, or Z genre? And in this case, we wanted to have a little bit more of a look into more modern influenced stuff. So we had a little bit more a look at bands like Gojira and Slipknot and that kind of orbiting stuff, which is how Scott Kennedy was kind of pitched for a name for it, which he did a great job on the title track. Lyrically, the album's a lot about sort of coping mechanisms and how the things that you employ as a crutch can soon become the thing you're trying to cure. The idea of Amber Screams being a good example, being the idea of chasing bigger and bigger highs in substance dependencies and how they start to fall into even greater and greater dependencies. And then you look to songs like Judgment, where it's more about the sort of self-actualization, where you start peeling back so many layers of yourself that there's not a person there anymore. And by the end of the album, a lot of it is to say crutches are part of your life as long as you don't let them they don't take over it, right? So it's the idea of moving to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna add to that as well. With that, it is about coping strategies, like Dan's just said. But actually, for the last few years, we've all had a pretty rough time. We've lost family members. There's been divorces and stuff in the band, and since COVID, everybody has had a pretty shit time, right? So we use this record as our own coping strategy as well. So it's not just about in a generic way. It's literally us exploring what we've been through, how we've coped with things, how we've made mistakes, and kind of come out the other side. And the actual album itself has been really helpful for us to move past some of this stuff.
Yeah. It could be like a therapy.
Yeah, it was therapy. Yeah, absolutely. It was therapy.
Okay. So you work with producer James Bogran. So how did you come to work with him, and how was the experience?
Yeah, so we actually did a lot of the recording at mine. I did a lot of the engineering. Okay. So we have like a little studio in a garden at my dad's place, funnily enough. So we hunkered down in there. We met up at weekends and we did the recording there. And then the label were very keen when we moved to this new modern sound to get this big, huge production. And we were pretty blown away when they were like, yeah, we've got Jens Bogren to do it. I mean, he's done some of our favorite records in multiple genres as well. Like Dan here, huge fan of Devin Townsend. He's done all that. He did the newest Sepultura record, Creator Records. So he's done the thrash stuff. He's done the modern stuff. He's the perfect guy for us. Okay. So absolutely, we said yes. And for the record label to pay the bill for that as well was amazing. Yeah, huge. So it was a pleasure working with him as well. He's he very quick to respond, very very helpful. We sent him kind of more than he needed. He's stripped everything back a bit, which has cleaned everything up. And we'd sent him layers and layers and harmonies and things. And he was able to take everything and just return an amazing sounding record. Okay,
so you are totally satisfied of the result? Absolutely.
Yeah, the good guy was incredible, and like I say, he worked on some of my favorite albums: Deconstruction, Devin Townsend Project, and a bunch of stuff by these Australian proggers, Caligula's Horse. Phenomenal, terrific.
Okay, so there is a guest appearance on the album, Scott Kennedy from Bleed From Within. So how did you come about? Can you tell us more about this appearance?
Yeah, so the middle section to In Gravity, the title track, was actually written by a guy called Lee Margalen from Collapse the Sky, who's a local band to where we live in Norwich, the UK. And we knew that was the kind of vibe we wanted to go for, that kind of modern, kind of metalcore breakdown-y kind of thing. Very different for us. Needed to inject something to say, we are trying something new on this record. Yeah. So it's the first song on the record. We knew the sound we wanted to go for. Lee wrote the part for us. We kind of gave him some creative freedom on that. He came in and demoed it. It was perfect straight away. We delivered it to the record label, and they said that Scott Kennedy would be the perfect person for that. And obviously Scott being a pretty big name, Bleed From Within, massively growing, touring with Slipknot and stuff this year, and they got him on board. We had to wait a little while because he had to finish a US tour, get home, record the part for us. But he said yes straight away. We had to wait a bit, got the part, and it was just perfect straight away. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you are with the band being part of the metal industry for about 15 years now. Yeah, with Shrapnel. What would be your advice to young starting bands, and what is your opinion on your view on the evolution of the metal music industry with the social networks and the way to consume music nowadays?
I would say constantly be on your toes, because you can get used to a way, and we've been guilty of this, you get used to a way that some things work, like the way Spotify works, the way advertising works, social media works, and then 2 years later it's completely different. Yeah. So you have to adapt You have to stay ahead. And I think, we've been quite guilty on this record, especially, where we knew how everything worked when we released the last record, and this time has been much harder, much harder. Spotify is much more difficult to navigate. It's much more difficult to get those playlists and streams and things. And social media, I wouldn't say it's harder. I would say it's more expensive.
Yeah.
If you pay, you can do it.
You can do it.
But you have to pay. And that's, so there's some sacrifice you have to make for sure. Which sucks, but you have to. You have to do it. Yeah.
If you want to be a little bit more. Okay. So, what are some of your non-musical interests or hobbies? Because I don't know if you make a living of shrapnel or not.
Sadly not. No, so my day job, I've been a teacher and a career progression lead for a creative college. So students who want to get into the music industry or the video game industry, I'm helping students find their place in the market and get into jobs in those industries, which I love. Apart from that, like hobby-wise, I get to play some video games now and again, but I've got an 8-year-old son, so he takes up all my time. So yeah.
Okay, and for you?
I do not have an 8-year-old son, and I spend most of my time either teaching or writing stupid riffs because I'm in a second band. So it's between So at home, I'm in a band called Reaper from Liverpool, and those guys, between that and Shrapnel and finding some time to just do stuff to myself, on my own kind of stuff, whatever. I like the same thing, video games, nerd stuff. I'm a filthy hermit that basically just sits at home. That's like, yes, I will sit and play any card game or whatever the hell else with friends of mine. But hobbies, really, this is what I love doing. So I enjoy that. And yeah, man, like I'm very hyper focused on certain things. So right now it's just writing a lot. So this is kind of predominantly my hobby because my day job is doing more music stuff.
Okay. So you are not old, of course. You are young, not like me. I try to. So if we're looking back at your childhood, in which musical environment did you grow up, and does it affect in a way the choice of playing the music you are playing today, or not at all?
Hard question to answer. For me personally, I would say no. So we often had like Queen on at home, which I think is where a lot of my love of guitar came from. But we weren't. My household wasn't very musical. We didn't have music on that often. My uncles and aunts liked music a bit more, and I think that rubbed off a bit more. My cousins were very, very into the Beatles and things like that. Which at the time I was like, no, I don't want that. Maybe that's why I went down more of the heavy metal route. But no, it was just being around people at school, I think, rather than like home life and family life. So, it was the social circles and the friendship groups. We very much came together around music, and Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Sepultura. That was everything in high school. So, and it took over, and it wasn't just a phase. It's still here. Yeah. So, friendship groups rather than family. Yeah.
I mean, more or less what Chris said. A lot of the people that we kind of orbit around are into, the stuff that we kind of vibe with anyway. So we're a stone throw away from the right folks to play to. So whenever we're kind of, at home or when we're, meeting up with folks or whatever else, it's a decent crowd we're in the right lanes of folks for it anyway, so.
So you are playing, as I said at the beginning, for the first time in France at the BARBEUK Metal Fest second edition. What is the future for the band after? Did you have other shows planned?
Yeah, so we're booking up tours now. We were supposed to be very busy this summer. Unfortunately, a couple festivals fell through. We were supposed to be playing on Metal Days, and another one cancelled. So that's pushed everything back a bit. Next summer, we're looking really busy. We're going to do a UK tour towards the end of this year, and then we're back in Europe, including some French dates in February. So Yeah, the dates aren't out yet, but they will be very, very soon. We have most of the tour confirmed, so yeah, February. And then I think we might be coming back again in May. So lots of focus on Europe next year. We're gonna come back as much as we can. The record's doing really well over here in Europe. So yeah, we've got to follow it up and come play for you guys.
Okay, so thank you very much. This was Shrapnel from UK on Métal Zone Oxygène Radio at the BARBEUK Metal Fest 2nd edition. We wish you a lot of good things for this album, for the band, for you, for your family. The success you deserve at your level. Thank you, have fun, take care, don't forget to laugh every day, it's important.